Welcome back to another video, everyone. Today I wanted to rank all of the different types of minigames in Crash Bash from worst to best. In case you missed it, I already made a video ranking the top 5 worst platinum relics, but this list will be ranking the minigames based on how good the minigames are. I'm not going to rank each individual level because they're all quite similar to each other. For those unfamiliar with Crash Bash, each minigame will have 4 different variants, except for the Medieval Mayhem category, which features 4 separate different minigames. So instead of ranking each individual level, I will rank them as a group. Right, starting at number 10, the absolute worst minigame in Crash Bash, in my opinion, Ring Ding. This minigame is quite literally just run around and pop balloons. That's it. Now again, would I rather play this one for a platinum relic than some of the others? Yes, because this one is really easy. But again, that is just not how I'm ranking these, so it is going last for being the most boring in the game. Thankfully, it's part of the Medieval Mayhem set of games, so that means it doesn't appear more than once. What makes this one even worse is that it doesn't end until the time runs out. A lot of levels end early when the CPU are eliminated or a player reaches the point limit, but here it's popping balloons for a minute and a half. At number 9 we have Keg Kaboom, another medieval minigame. This one is also just run around for a minute and a half breaking barrels. The only way you can break them is by having the fire that you can pick up at the edge of the arena. And you need to walk around leading your trail over to the barrels, and when it catches up it will blow them up and you'll get some points. If you get hit, then you have to run off to the edge and grab the fire again, and sometimes the spawn point just isn't in your favor and you have to run a bit further than usual to light your flame before you can go and start getting points. I don't know, it really just isn't the most exciting thing to play in Crash Bash. I like the theme of the medieval games, but they aren't the most fun to play, that's for certain. But we don't have another medieval game at number 8, because at number 8 I've placed Pogo Pandemonium. I think it's a boring minigame, hopping around until the time runs out, hoping to get some good item or box spawns. It's really funny that the minigames with the most boring gameplay are also the ones that can't end until the time runs out, because it really makes them that much worse. I'll give it some credit though, it does offer much more than something like Ring Ding, so that's something. I just think these minigames are quite boring, and when you get to the later ones they are boring but also quite frustrating when you get rockets spammed at you. You have no items spawn near you, so the CPU are just constantly on speed shoes and have all the power-ups. And if the purple crates decide to spawn everywhere except near you, then it just means you're not going to be able to score your points, because the CPU are going to make it to them way before you can. While there is some skill involved in this, absolutely, I've had games go incredibly well and I've had games go incredibly shit, all based on the spawns alone. It's not a fun game to play. At number 7 we have Mallet Mash. This is a very simple minigame from the Medieval Mayhem category. You just run around hitting mushrooms. That's it really. The longer a mushroom has been out in the arena, the more points it's worth, but it will explode if left too long. And every now and then a golden mushroom will spawn, and it's always worth trying to pick that up because it is worth the most points. It's not the most entertaining minigame, but it's certainly not bad. At number 6 we have Crash Dash. I feel like I'm being way too nice with this choice given how aggressive the other drivers can be and how bad the driving itself feels, but Crash Dash can be fun when you're boosting around the track dominating. Most of the time though, that's not how it goes. I'm sure you will. More than this. More than this! Give me Crash 2! Let me play it. Oh, jeez. It's unreal. It's unreal! What normally happens is you get knocked off by the slightest touch of a CPU. Then when you're spawning back, everyone teams up for some reason and targets you specifically with rockets. And if they don't have any rockets, then they'll try ramming you off again. Sometimes they'll even turn around and go the wrong way just to ram you off the track again. What am I witnessing right now? It's not uncommon to experience a chain of being pushed off the track 5 to 6 times in a row, and it ruins the fun. I could have placed this in a much worse position, but when it does go well, I think it is more fun than the others that I just ranked. At number 5 we have the final Medieval Mayhem minigame, and that is Drag and Drop. This is one of the best in my opinion. You have to shoot the gems at the moving target, and it doesn't really matter where you hit the target. It doesn't determine how many points you get. What determines how many points you get is where you're standing when you fire the gem. The further back you are, the more points you earn. Really, the only strategy here is to camp at the back and wait for all the gems to bounce over to you, since that's usually where they end up after someone makes a shot. It's quite easy, but I like it. I think this is a good minigame. At number 4, we have Polar Push. These minigames are quite fun, especially if you pick the right character. Now, when I 200%ed the game, I picked the worst possible character that you can play for this minigame, but there are things that can help you out, regardless of who you pick. Tilt Panic flips the arena to one side, so even if your character has a weak push, it can still be an effective way to eliminate the other players. In Melt Panic, the arena shrinks, and Uka Uka freezes players that step into his beam. And in Manic Panic, you can just straight up use the items to get the win. Even without all of that, you can try out some fun techniques like baiting the CPU to boost off of the platform. It's dangerous because if it goes wrong, they're just going to end up pushing you off, but it does work, and it is something that I had to do to get some platinum relics. At number 3, we have Tank Wars. Tank Wars can be brutal at times, I think that's fair to say, but it is fun. The objective is to simply destroy your enemies. Characters have different weapons based on their type, but everyone has the ability to drop mines. This is the strategy. This is how you win. Mines explode for massive amounts of damage, and when they go off, they explode the entire lane that they were placed in. In the later tank minigames though, that are more open and don't have lanes, they just act as regular explosions, which makes it much harder to hit the enemies with a mine because now they have to be right next to them. But only in Jungle Fox, because in Swamp Fox, the CPU like to go out of their way to crash into your mines for no apparent reason. Now, playing strategically goes a long way in Tank Wars. Gorilla's in a lovely... Ooh! I never said I was good at being strategic, I'm just saying. You have to look out for what your opponents are doing, but you also have to look out for what the arena is doing as well. In some of the minigames, mines get airdropped into the arena, so if you're not paying attention, you're going to run into one. In Jungle Fox, you've got tiki heads that jump around, and if you get hit by them, it's pretty much a game over. If you have strategy, this minigame can be very fun. All of that goes out the window in Swamp Fox, because there you just sort of have to dodge, drop mines, and pray for the best. Right, at number 2, we have Ballistics. This is one that I don't think many will agree with. I feel like most people's list, Ballistics will be closer to the bottom. Most likely due to endballism and skyballs, and you know, I completely get it. It took me 3 or 4 hours, I think, to get the platinum relic on endballism. But ignoring relics and everything else, this is a fun minigame to play. Being good at the game and having a fast reaction time will greatly improve your success rate, which is not something I can say about every minigame in Crash Bash. There's definitely some bullshit that can happen, like on Skyballs, where the balls sometimes go into your goal through the goalpost itself. An engine popping out in the middle acting as a wall is also really annoying, but it's a fun minigame, and again, if you have a fast reaction time, you're probably going to enjoy this one. Which leaves us with one more game at number 1, and that is Crate Crush. Crate Crush is the first minigame that comes to mind when I think of Crash Bash. Like, this is the Crash Bash minigame. It also doesn't really have any bad variants. Jungle Bash is a bit basic, but that's how all of the minigames start off. Then you get Space Bash, where the TNTs and Nitros destroy the arena, making it harder to survive the longer it goes on. Can also lead to some funny moments, seeing the CPU fall through the arena. Snow Bash is probably the most chaotic of the bunch, thanks to the penguin in the center. If he's woken up, he will go berserk and starts launching crates, TNTs, Nitros in all directions. Drain Bash is a little less interesting for me, but it does have a bunch of overpowered items that you really want to get before the CPU get them. This is a fun minigame, and it's always a good time. It doesn't really have any bad variants, and I think it is probably better than all the others on the list. Controls don't suck, it's a good challenge. Again, even if we're going to include the platinum difficulty, even then I think these are some of the most fair minigames. This minigame really does just have everything. That is my ranking of all the minigames in Crash Bash. Feel free to rank them yourself down below. I'm very interested to know the differences between my list and everyone else's, because I think the list is going to look quite different for everyone. Outside of maybe Ring Ding and Keg Kaboom, I think stuff like that is probably always going to end up toward the bottom of people's lists, but I think the top 3 are going to vary quite a bit from person to person. That being said, thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Definitely subscribe if you're new here, and I will see you all in my next video.